All right, well, our last day of the birthday month with Andrew Lessman, and I have to tell you, it's a product that I personally have loved, and I know you do too. This is exciting stuff, Andrew.
No, our marine collagen peptides, I mean, sort of one of the problems with it being so exciting is that in the more than a decade we've talked about it. At one time, no one else was talking about it.
It's true.
Now, unfortunately, it's become such a popular ingredient. I unfortunately got bad news just before I came east to do the shows that marine collagen is becoming incredibly scarce. Our cost will be going up in the future. That's why we're in no hurry to sell this out, because I'm actually hoping we'll have powder left over in Nevada, because whatever powder we have left over, we get to keep the price lower for a longer period of time.
And as he says too, that will be it. By the way, this is an abbreviated look, so I'll kind of hustle things along because I know Andrew has so much information to share. And bottom line, I actually originally started taking this for my joints, but when you hear about the side beauty benefits, it's really remarkable.
Most people take it for beauty.
I know.
But the reason why, it's not some magical potion or magical pill. The reason why it has such wide-ranging benefits is because of the role that collagen plays in our body. Collagen is the most wide-ranging protein in our body. Collagen is the predominant protein in our body. Collagen is basically the structural or integrating protein in virtually every important tissue I could think of. Our connective tissue, our skin, obviously, our connective tissue means our joints. The strength of our joints, the flexibility, resilience of our joints, our skin, the beauty and resilience of our skin, the degree to which our skin can resist wrinkling over our lifetime is going to be the degree to which we can maintain the healthy structure and organization of the collagen. But then when we start getting into other tissues, our heart, well, our bone. We think of our bones as being these hard structures because of the presence of calcium. Yes, calcium, a metal, plays that critical role in our bone, but our bone is integrated by collagen. Our heart is a muscle. That muscle contracts. That muscle pumps blood throughout our body. But the structure of our heart, the valves of our heart, are predominantly collagen. So collagen, virtually any system you want to think about, the aging of that system is challenged and compromised by how well your body can maintain the organization of the collagen structure. And as that collagen structure becomes less well organized, we lose flexibility, we lose resiliency, we start seeing things visibly on the outside that are associated with, say, lesser beauty or aging. On the inside, it's associated with lesser function. So again, collagen is critically important. The big problem with collagen, you could eat all the collagen you want in your diet. Collagen is a resistant protein. Collagen is a protein that resists digestion. The reason why collagen is principally organized as it's this double wound triple helix. It's a really complex structure. And that structure resists attack by enzymes, digestive enzymes. So unfortunately, collagen is not something we could eat in our diet and receive the benefits that we're talking about here. And I'll read some more quotes from the science as I did last night. So what we've done here, and the company that we rely on to do this is a company in Japan that's been dealing with collagen for over 100 years. And I believe, and the science validates, that they have the best collagen peptide product available that emulates our own collagen and our own amino acid sequencing in our collagen. But in order for us to absorb collagen, that resistant protein that resists digestion, it has to be broken down into these dipeptides, tripeptides, these small little bits of peptides, small bits of amino acids that are small enough to be absorbed and deliver their benefits. And that's what this formula does. It does so in a fashion that's, I was going to say delicious. What's most delicious about it has no taste. You can mix it with anything: coffee, tea, water, smoothie, vegetable drink, yogurt, oatmeal. You won't taste it at all. It mixes perfectly. So it's a great product, unlike any other collagen product you're going to find in any store. Most of those come from cows or pigs, or if they come from a marine source, they're not the quality of this product.
Absolutely. So let's just show you your choices. By the way, 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee, which is something that Andrew's doing for all of his beauty benefit products for our today's specials. Just so you realize, this is an abbreviated airing, so I'll try to make this brief. You have your 30 count at $19.90. That's over a $20 savings. Your 90 at $54.90, almost $50 savings. Your 180 at $94.90, and then your 360 at $149.90. So here's where our pricing will go. And actually, based on the law of supply and demand, we might even see that increase exponentially, again, based on what Andrew found out recently. Today, these are your savings. And if you check out what you normally spend for the 180 count, that would be $180. Do you know you can double your servings for less than you will spend on just the 180 count after today? And here's where it gets really interesting. If you just factor in the value of the MSM that Andrew is including basically for free with your purchase on the 360 count, which is what most of us are doing,
right,
that's almost $70 right there. So I have to say there's no better time than the present. When you read the reviews, I mean, love is probably the most predominantly used adjective. And I do think it's funny.
More than half the reviews.
I'm sure. And, you know, we love Andrew, but I think especially, again, I really did. I started taking this for my joints. And the fact that I look better in shorts, you know, you're looking
yes,
at your legs, you're looking at your arms, you're looking at your skin.
And again, it's not a drug, it's not a medicine. It deals with a tissue, a predominant tissue in our body. Collagen is actually a remarkable and it's sort of a forgotten material in our body. When we think about our heart, we think of the heart as the heart muscle,
yes,
this muscle that contracts. We don't think about the valves. We don't think about, say, the aorta, this artery that has to endure incredible pressures because that's where the blood is exiting our heart that then travels throughout our body, and that blood that has to go all the way down to our legs. I mean, the kinds of pressures it endures. Why and how could it endure those pressures? Because of the presence of this incredibly powerful, flexible, resilient collagen structure. So whether we're talking about our skin in terms of beauty, we're talking about our skin in terms of perhaps by having the collagen structure better integrated, I was reading the science last night, it does a better job of hiding the body fat below, and thus it could reduce the appearance, potentially reduce the appearance of cellulite, reduce the appearance of wrinkles. So the key to our aging well, both inside and out, is doing our very best to maintain the collagen structure in our body, because it is a third, roughly a third of the protein in our body, which is, there's an abundance of protein in our body, but roughly a third of it is collagen protein. And what I was going to do, we have some basic charts here that I hadn't even gone through yesterday, and just go through some of the basic charts and a basic discussion of the properties that kind of summarizes some of the science on collagen. So
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Do you think you were probably the first person to really bring this to national attention, don't you think?
I'd say.
Yeah.
There were all these kind of gelatin proteins, these hydrolyzed protein diets, but that's different than this.
Right.
This is not hydrolyzed collagen, hydrolyzed protein. This is a very specific byproduct that is sought, and it only uses starting protein, this marine protein that starts off, because it emulates our protein.
Wow.
If you look at the sequencing of amino acids, it's almost uncanny how much it emulates our own sequence of amino acids, and that's why it works so well for us. And it doesn't just serve a role as raw material. It's very easy to think, okay, we consume these collagen peptides, they get absorbed, they get integrated, so that's a wonderful thing that we have the raw materials to better maintain the collagen peptide, collagen protein in our body. But what it also does, the research has said, it's the abundance and the availability of these peptide sequences that we deliver to our body that serves a signaling role, sort of giving a message to the fibroblasts, the cells that are going to be producing new collagen for us, telling them we have the raw materials. So it plays a signaling, sort of a stimulating role. So we produce those tissues better. And of course, with the available raw materials, so much the better that we get the signaling role and the supply side of that also taken care of.
Absolutely.
Before I was going to go to the charts, there were some questions that were asked on Facebook Live. Donna DiMartino asked, is it safe and beneficial to take multiple vitamins together? By multiple vitamins, I probably means by multiple of my products together. The answer is yes. We presume that someone might possibly take all of the products we make. So we make sure, and we've adjusted the levels of various nutrients in products to accommodate the fact that most people will take multiple products. We would, of course, as I've said that before, our first rule is do no harm. So our goal is to make sure that if there were ever an issue, we would inform you of that. But you could take multiple products. You could take this with Healthy Hair, Skin, and Nails, with omega-3s, with Ultimate Eye. Those are all separate, independent products, independent ingredients, independent roles. No drugs or medicines with side effects or warnings here. So no worries there. Another question, can you take too much MSM in a day? Again, MSM is not a drug. It's just organic sulfur. Sulfur is one of the most predominant elements in our body. So the answer is you could take grams of MSM a day without problem. There's no reason to do so. You get 500 milligrams in a serving here, and our servings are large. The research on collagen peptides, some talk about 1 gram per day, 2.5 grams per day. Our scoop serving is 5 grams. So you could actually cut that in half, 2.5 grams, and still be embracing the research. So you could do whatever fits your budget. I like 5 grams because whether you're talking about beauty benefits or joint benefits, at 5 grams, you're really optimizing all of those benefits. Another question about MSM, probably methyl sulfonyl-methane, a great source of sulfur. And it was, I'm allergic to sulfa. Can I take MSM? People aren't allergic to sulfur. You must have sulfur in your body. Sulfur is an element. Sulfa is a class of drugs and medications. Many people are allergic to, say, sulfa drugs. So the answer is sulfur is non-problematic. Sulfur is something that is present in any sulfur-containing amino acid. We all have sulfur-containing amino acids in our body, like cysteine. So you can't, methionine, you can't avoid sulfur in our body. So again, sulfur is just an important element in our body, like calcium, like carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. So not a problem. Can I give this to my older dog also? He has joint issues. I give this to Lincoln probably every other day. I put a scoop or two in the water for both Lincoln and Marcel. Marcel's just a year old, but Marcel also benefits. Can you mix this with both food or drinks? Obviously, you can mix this, as I said earlier, with anything. You could put it in water, and I'll mix it in water in a second. You could put it in juice, coffee, tea, even hot beverages. This is a stable molecule. Hot beverages would be fine to mix it with coffee. Oatmeal, oat bran, not a problem at all. What is the best time of day to take it? Whatever time works best. This is not a problem if you have diabetes or type 2 diabetes. There's no sugar, there's no flavors. It's 100% pure. It will not taste fishy. It has no flavor, no taste, and mixes easily. And I think I covered all the questions.
Good, great. Hey, by the way, just a reminder, this is an abbreviated airing. So I know it's Andrew's last day for our July birthday month, 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Most of us, because you will absolutely take this every day, and when you hear some of the reviews, you'll hear why. I mean, again, for me and my mobility, I refuse to give up my high-impact running. I mean, I just do, and I want to keep that mobility going, but the side benefits for beauty are incredible. So our 360, that's the one that most of us are choosing, because if you take a look, normally the 180 is $179. Today, you are doubling that serving count for less than you will be paying for just the 180. And remember, these prices are going up significantly. There's a 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee. On that 360, you're looking at a flex pay of less than $30. On the 180, you're looking at a flex pay of less than $24. You're welcome to choose the 30 or the 90 at $19 or $54 respectively. But the bottom line is this: it is most notably a see the difference, and for me in particular, a feel the difference product. When you think about wearing your shorts, when you think about your swimsuits, when you think about your skin being softer or more supple or less lined, for me, I think of my heart benefits and my joint benefits. The more you know about this, I think the more we're all compelled to do it. And with that 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee, there's absolutely no reason for you to not give this a try on any of our sizes, because we will not see this duplicated at this kind of value as we move forward. And I'm excited for you to try it, because I think as we move through the process of life, Andrew not only educates us, I guess he has only himself to blame when it comes for the law of supply and demand. So you can only blame yourself, I guess, when it comes to the prices and availability.
Well, it's Unfortunately, other companies really didn't. We've been talking about collagen for a long time. Other companies have recently jumped on the bandwagon. But it's something, and of course, we're now reading about it in magazines and health magazines. We hear about in the news. So that has dramatically increased demand for all sources of collagen peptides. There's no better source of collagen peptides than the source that we use. And I could choose whatever source from the dozens or hundreds of sources that are out there in the world. I could choose whichever one, and all we base it on is not how much it costs. We base it on how much science there is and whether the product is going to deliver benefits for you. That's the sole reason that we will choose a material. And unfortunately, as we were just saying before, unfortunately the price is going to be going up on collagen. This is our best pricing ever in the Today Special today, but this will not be the Today Special price when we do it again in a year. Unfortunately, the Today Special price will go up. We'll try to limit that as much as possible, but unfortunately the news I've gotten, I can't control the marketplace for this material. I've been able to lower the price since we introduced it more than a decade ago, which I thought was a great accomplishment. So it'll probably just end up going back up to where it was a dozen years ago, which isn't bad. So I was going to read some science here. Some quotes from some research. We have as many reviews as we have, and we have all sorts of reviews and testimonials on the product. The science is even more compelling. We have science that talks about the heart, cardiovascular, circulatory system. We have reviews that talk about cellulite and the appearance of cellulite. We have reviews that here will talk about the skin. And actually, it looks like it's going to talk about heart and arteries as well. And these are serious scientific or medical journals that we're looking at. So this is from Current Pharmaceutical Design. Collagen fibers are the most abundant components of the extracellular matrix in arteries and myocardium. The extracellular matrix, that which is outside of our cells, that integrating matrix in our body, collagen is the most abundant ingredient. Disturbances in the collagen turnover, the synthesis and degradation. So all our systems, all the cells in our body, they degrade, they get replaced or repaired.
Right.
But disturbances in collagen turnover have been linked to inflammatory issues, including cardiovascular, but basically it's mostly linked to simply aging.
Yeah.
The vascular collagen matrix plays a key role in the maintenance of tissue integrity and vessel wall elasticity. Many physicians, doctors will say, we're only as old as the health and elasticity of our arteries and veins. So it's important to maintain the collagen matrix in those tissues, not just to have beautiful skin, but to have healthy arteries and veins. In cardiac tissue, the collagen scaffold maintains structural integrity and overall geometry. And that means, I was talking about that before, the structure of our heart, the real architecture of our heart, isn't based upon the muscle, but is based upon the collagen tissue. The function is very much based on the muscle as an organ that pumps blood. In arteries, collagen synthesis and degradation are associated with the progression of atherosclerotic changes. So we want to preserve the collagen matrix as best we can, and it's the undermining of the collagen matrix that might happen because of smoking or things like that we want a good reason to avoid smoking, or other kinds of inflammatory things like high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. Archives of dermatological research. Collagen peptides have been reported to have beneficial biological functions for some time that justify its use in food supplements and pharmaceutical preparations. That's a fascinating quote from a dermatological research publication. From the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology, investigations using radioactively labeled collagen peptides have demonstrated that the absorbed peptides reach the skin and are retained in the tissue for up to 2 weeks. So what this proved is that even though collagen had been viewed as a resistant protein, they label the collagen molecules that are consumed. They label them with something that gives off a radioactive, so they could actually look at the molecules as they're incorporated into tissue, and they see that collagen peptides actually go to the site to deliver their benefits. From Skin Pharmacology and Physiology, based on the results of the study, it can be concluded that the oral ingestion of specific collagen peptides led to a pronounced, statistically significant reduction of eye wrinkle volume. I should put that chart aside.
Yeah,
that's a pretty powerful statement.
That's huge.
Based on the results of the study, it can be concluded, not it leads one to possibly conclude, or sometimes suggests is the language that would be used, but it can be concluded that the oral ingestion of specific collagen peptides led to a pronounced statistically significant reduction of eye wrinkle volume.
That's a drop the mic moment right there.
Right. Oh, that's a powerful statement. From the Journal of Medicinal Food, this increased synthesis of the elastin and collagen fiber matrix molecules became clinically apparent in a statistically significant reduction of eye wrinkle deepness of 20% compared to the placebo group. So it was a double-blind controlled study.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's a different journal, a different study. From Skin Pharmacology and Physiology. In conclusion, our findings demonstrate that the oral intake of bioactive collagen peptides reduced skin wrinkles and had positive effects on dermal matrix synthesis. Strong statements from clinical interventions of aging. Natural aging can affect the structural integrity of the dermis. It affects the structure of our skin. We know that. You don't have to be a scientist. We see it. In addition, areas of the body exposed to the sun are prone to photoaging.
Sure.
We know that. Both of these types of aging can be exacerbated by diet. The photoaged dermis contains collagen fibers and elastin that are disorganized and abnormal in nature. So the key is maintaining a healthy collagen structure. Recently, it has been shown that smoking alters the components of the dermis and leads to premature aging of components in the dermis. You didn't have to be a scientist to tell someone that, but science has validated it. Stress also seems to affect the integrity of collagen in the skin. Again, you didn't have to be a scientist to know that. In order to be active in the deeper layers of the skin, hydrolyzed collagen has to cross the intestinal barrier and reach the bloodstream. It can't be delivered topically. It has to be delivered through the GI tract in a form like ours here that can be absorbed. From the Japan Society of Health Sciences, orally ingested collagen peptides are more likely to be transported to human dermal, skin, and epidermal tissues via the peripheral blood vessels in the form of di and tripeptides, what I've been talking about, after being absorbed into the blood. We therefore believe that these collagen peptides used in this study decrease the area of UV spots of human skin. Archives of dermatological. I'm sorry I'm going on with the science because it's so important.
It is.
I mean, most people will just focus on benefits and promised benefits. I'd rather read the science and give you an impression of how important and significant these molecules are, and there's no better source than we're talking about here. Positive effects of the oral administration of collagen on skin have been previously observed. These effects included an improvement in nail quality and an effect on the properties of hair and hair growth. So not just wrinkling of the skin. Since collagen is degraded and remodeled on sites of tissue injury and inflammation, these findings suggest that collagen and collagen peptide might function to affect repair of damaged tissue. I think it's just a basic fact that if we have damaged tissue or injury, it would make sense, again, not a drug or treating anything, it would make sense that you're providing the tools necessary to support the healing process. They're raw materials that your body will use. Archives of dermatological research. Therefore, it seems likely that the biological activity of oral collagen protein in skin could be achieved at least partly as a biological messenger, as I was talking about before, and trigger of the synthesis of new collagen fibers and extracellular matrix organization. I'll stop pretty soon here. Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology, a growing body of evidence demonstrates the efficacy of collagen peptides to improve parameters of skin physiology in preclinical studies. Collagen peptides were shown to increase hyaluronic acid production in dermal fibroblasts and to improve skin barrier function by increasing the water content of the stratum corneum. We'll do one more. A gradual improvement of skin water absorption capacity was observed through 60 days in volunteers who ingested collagen peptides in comparison with that of placebo group. So again, great controlled studies and just the sorts of things that, the things we're talking about here. I am not aware of a single topical skin preparation that can deliver any of those benefits. Collagen peptides can't be delivered topically. These, even as di and tripeptides, these are molecules that are too large to be absorbed and delivered to your skin where they could be integrated and deliver benefits. As the science said, they must be ingested in a proper form so they can be absorbed, taken into the bloodstream, and thereafter delivered to the skin. That's what the science says, and that's the exact science that we followed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you think about that, and once again, a reminder, this is Andrew's last day of birthday month. All of these opportunities do expire at midnight. So if you've got your Andrew Lessman shopping cart or list like I do, most notably, yes, that today's special should be on that list. But to Andrew's point, anything that you're applying topically, and we do great beauty products here at HSN. I just sold a beauty tool a couple of weeks ago that helped optimize the collagen in your skin. That's doing nothing for my bones. It's doing nothing for my blood vessels. It's doing nothing for my heart. It's doing nothing for my joints. Plus, it's a topical creation. Full disclosure, I have purchased cellulite creams that you apply topically that are 30-day, applications for more than you're spending for the 90 serving. So I guess when you look at it, whether you're taking it for those beauty benefits, but then you reap the heart benefits as well, it's absolutely impossible to say no to this. Most of us are doing the large size. So just to, delineate this again, the 30 is normally over $40. It's like half off. It's $19.90. The 90 serving count is normally over $100. Again, it's over $46 off. It's half off. The 180 count will be going back to $180. Today it's $94.90, but on that 360, if you notice, you are doubling that serving size for less than what you will be spending for the 180 after today. And and the other thing about this, Andrew, is all of your products are custom. He reads all of your reviews. I have always loved this. But he made it even better if that's possible, even down to making the scoop yellow so I don't lose it in the formula.
The original scoop was basically sort of white,
right.
So I blended it with the collagen peptides. That was not a moment of rocket science for us to figure out to make the scoop yellow. But, and we used yellow because everything we make is with solar energy.
Right.
So yellow is sort of our color in that regard.
There you go.
It's in our world, it's even better than green.
It is.
Because we do everything using solar energy.
For sure.
That's our parking lot. So even in the summer, when in Nevada, I'll be in Nevada next week, and it will unfortunately probably be 110 degrees.
Yeah.
So if I'm going running, it'll be at about 5:30 in the morning. It's warm. But that sun throughout the year enables us to make all of these products without any outside energy at all.
Yeah.
So we are environmentally responsible, socially responsible. But this is a product that in terms of marine collagen, in terms of collagen peptides, there's no better source. I love to emphasize the science, even though the reviews are so compelling. I'll read some reviews. We're doing only a brief airings here, basically, because I want to save as much powder as we can to postpone when the price goes up on this product. Next year's Today Special, it'll be a year away, but it will not be at the same value this year because unfortunately there's just unprecedented worldwide demand for collagen peptides. In fact, you could see bottled waters and all sorts of things. And I'll talk about bottled waters in a moment here, but water we could basically get at home for free from our tap. And I used to say that the best investment someone could make is, and I'll talk about this later, is say reverse osmosis filtration at their home. And that used to cost a lot. That used to cost like $2,000. But I was just on Home Depot's website this morning. There's some great RO systems for just a couple $100, $150, $200. $150, that's a few dozen bottles of water. You could pay for it in a couple of months. So, and that water, I don't care how bad tap water is, RO makes it almost like laboratory purity. So, and they're relatively easy to install if you're a little handy, or it doesn't cost that much to have someone install it for you. So the purest water in the world just became unbelievably affordable. And bottled water is just environmentally not particularly sound. We don't drink bottled water at home. Muriel will have her Perrier every once in a while. It's a French thing. But in terms of still water, we just don't drink bottled water. I view it as environmentally irresponsible. Now, there's all these crazy antioxidant waters and this water and that water where they add all sorts of crazy ingredients that are not all that responsible in terms of the quality of those ingredients. They should stick to water and not adding supplement ingredients to bottled water. But that's a whole nother discussion. As we do here, all you're getting is the pure marine collagen peptides with pure MSM that you then get to add to anything you want. That's the most efficient way to deliver it, and it's the most efficient way to enjoy the benefits of collagen. In order for collagen to be aesthetically appealing in a pre-made bottled drink, I would would wonder about the nature and quality of the collagen that's used. And I would imagine most of them are not using marine collagen. Most of them are using bovine or some other collagen. And they're probably overly digesting it to the point where you're not getting the fractions of peptides to deliver the benefits that you seek. And the real product, unfortunately, is a bit expensive. The best collagen peptides in the world. But as I always say, the science for me is my recipe. That's the map I have to follow. So yes, if the science is exciting, it would be unethical for me to make a product that doesn't precisely follow the science. We have precisely followed the science here. Most collagen peptides do not.
Absolutely. And remember, best pricing we will ever see. If you want that 360, which is what I'm advising, especially since we won't see pricing like this again. If you're compelled just from a beauty standpoint alone, I mean, if vanity prevails, you know you're gonna go for that 360 count size. It's basically a half off sale. By the way, that 360 is less than $30 on your credit card. And Andrew, this is something, I don't know if I've told you this, but I make bone broth every week, and I started to do that, you know, for some of those collagen benefits.
Right.
But after listening to you, I didn't realize that bovine source is not necessarily the best option for me, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, bone broth is an interesting concept.
Right.
I think it's more interesting as a concept than it really delivers in terms of benefits. If you really do an analysis of what the content of bone broth is, the best attribute of bone broth is that it's hydrating, it's low in calories,
right.
But it's not, say, nutritionally rich. And if you really do an analysis of what's in it, I don't like to. Right. I don't like to rely on the magic of products. I like to know what's actually in something, so I can assess it. But it's something that, you know, I'll have no problem having it occasionally. But then again, I want to make sure, where did those bones come from?
Right.
Did the cattle receive antibiotics? Were they grass-fed? Whatever it might be. So there's all sorts of open questions. When it comes to our product, we know the nature, the purity, the quality. We know the exact amino acid composition of our collagen peptides here, and you have to know that, because the amino acid sequencing is what makes this collagen peptide such a perfect simulator of our own collagen, and that's why it works. If it wasn't as similar as it is, almost identical, it couldn't deliver the benefits that it delivers.
Makes sense. The company that you get this from, they've been doing it for what, over 100?
Over 100 years.
I can't wrap my brain around that.
And,
seriously.
Well, and they were dealing with collagen and collagen peptides, and basically processing fish to deliver the collagen. And what's funny about the word collagen, and I hope I'm remembering, it's a long time since I read the story, but I believe that the word collagen actually goes back a long ways. It's Greek. And I think the first, I think collagen, gen is usually like Genesis, creation, but kala, I believe, means like glue.
Oh.
So when you think about the old days, they would send a horse or a cow, whatever, to the glue factory. Because that glue factory, they're processing the collagen. They're destroying it and turning it into glue, gelatin. But so this is an entirely different concept. But that's the origin of the word collagen. So what we're doing here, we're taking that collagen that's almost a perfect match for our own, and we're just making sure that it's being delivered in these absorbable di and tripeptides. And that's what the science is. So it's very specific requirements. You can't just take collagen and deliver it. It won't be absorbable. You can't just hydrolyze collagen and deliver it, because that's going to be useless in just a bunch of amino acids. It has to be perfectly performed and monitored.
And boy, I hope you take time to read some of the reviews, because honestly, when you read some of them, people go to their dermatologist, and their dermatologist notices, what are you doing to your skin? People who are those, and we are all skeptics, I think, at heart, who say, oh, I thought it was another gimmick until I got this at home, and then I saw myself in the mirror again, how my younger looking self for the first time in years. So you read those kind of reviews, and with a 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee and pricing that we will not see again, you absolutely should take advantage of it. Now, remember, I originally started taking this for my joint benefits. The MSM, it's getting close to paying for the purchase in terms, if you just figure it's a $70 value inclusive, basically for free. So you could take that right off that $149.90 price on that 360 count size, regardless of the size that you choose. The 30 count at $19.90 is it's half off. The 90 count at $54.90. it's half off. The 180 at $94.90, it's half off. The 360 at $149.90 is half off. The 360, remember, is less than $30 on your credit card. The 180 is less than $25 on your credit card. But for goodness sake, since we know unequivocally for a fact the price will be going up exponentially. It's just the law of supply and demand.
Not exponentially, but it'll go up probably a good 20%.
Well, you'll try to, I know you'll do your, you'll do your utmost best.
I'll do everything I can.
I know you will.
No, and that's just, and I tend to be, I talk about this on air all the time. And generally, you look across the board at my most important products. Over some products, CoQ10 35 years ago was 10 times more expensive than it is today.
You're right.
So in 35 years, it's gone down 90% almost. So there's a lot of great, perfect example here, marine collagen peptides. We introduced it, much more expensive than today.
I remember.
But I think it's going to not go up to where it was originally, but it's going to go up a bit.
Okay,
so,
good.
So I'm glad we were able to get this Today Special in effectively under the wire. I was just going to read some reviews quickly, and then we're going to run along. And then we have a number of different products we'll talk about, and then a brief airing at the end of the second hour, and that'll be it. So here we go. Easy to take, multiple benefits, thrilled. I purchased this the first time on sort of a whim, but I'm so glad that I did, and I'm back for more. I, too, within several weeks of starting this product, have received multiple compliments from family and friends regarding my general appearance. Good, healthy, and seemingly less joint-related discomfort getting up from kneeling, etc. I've taken it with flavored water and tea. It does dissolve completely when stirred very well. I find the most palatable way to ingest it is in a smoothie or other thicker drinks where it can be better suspended for the benefits and ease of administration. I'm thrilled and hope this is always a part of the Lessman ProCaps lineup. It always will be.
Yes.
This stuff is fantastic. I don't want to be without the marine collagen peptides. I've never had decent fingernails until I started using the collagen. I also have noticed that my joints don't bother me as much as before. I've found that it dissolves in hot water much better than cooler. I just mix it and let it cool off. I've recommended it to my cousin, and she has started using it too.
Nice.
Well, someone discovered one of the basic rules of solubility.
Right.
You heat the solution and things dissolve better. But actually, some of these reviews are from original years.
Right.
And now the product is amazingly soluble and has no taste.
Right.
So some of the early reviews, it had a little bit of a marine taste, and it resisted dissolution.
Right.
Now it doesn't resist dissolution.
Exactly.
I'll show in a moment.
Yeah.
Loving my beautiful skin and joints. I started taking the marine collagen peptides 1 month ago, and I'm so excited with how my joints, skin, and nails are responding to it. This is my second order. I'm 60 years old and train at karate 5 days per week. My knees and joints are not bothering me at all. After a grueling week of training, my skin is so plump and beautiful. Thank you, Andrew.
Nice.
I love it. I use it every day. And that's how you have to use it to derive the benefits.
For sure.
That's how the science summarizes the research. I ordered Andrew's marine collagen peptides the first time it was offered. That's almost a dozen years ago.
Yeah.
I will never, hopefully, be without it. I use 2 scoops a day. I start my day with 2 scoops in hot coffee or hot Andrew's jasmine-infused green tea. My skin looks better and my joints feel better. Honestly, I purchased this because healthy hair, skin, and nails work so great, have taken it for years. Collagen has long been associated as a beauty maker. However, my joints have reaped soothing benefits of this product. Now, it is for my joints and skin. I hope Andrew does another great special like he did on his webcast visit. Judy, North Carolina. That webcast was probably 6 or 7 years ago. The Fountain of Youth. I thought, another gimmick? I'm desperate. What the heck? I have 30 days, right? Today it's 60 days.
I know.
Little did I know that this was the real deal. I saw immediate results in my skin. I mean, immediate. My skin came back to life very quickly. I would stare at myself in the mirror thinking, there you are. There is the younger version of me. I remember this face. Andrew, you nailed it, and I'm beyond grateful. I, of course, ordered another 120 servings and will continue for the rest of my life.
Nice.
You didn't give me false promises of hope. You gave me results, and I can't thank you enough. And again, collagen plays the role it plays in our body. It is the dominant ingredient or the dominant component in the extracellular matrix in our body. Wow, a long review. Essential supplement for joint health. I've been using this for about 2 months now as part of a comprehensive supplement regimen to combat the issues in my knees and hands. I read this yesterday. I mix 2 scoops into my morning coffee. I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you that the regimen I'm using has made a significant and substantial difference in my quality of life. I can say Marine Collagen Peptides has done the same for me.
For sure.
I no longer have bad days where movement is extremely difficult, regardless of the weather outside, and my hands seem to be getting steadily better and stronger each and every week, which is nothing short of a miracle for my golf game and my quality of life.
Nice.
I recommend everyone with joint issues develop a comprehensive supplement plan that includes this product. And certainly, in his product descriptions, Andrew has provided some initial guidance to get you started.
Do you notice how eloquent your viewers are?
No, but that's why part of the reason I love reading the reviews.
Right.
First of all, they give me important, valuable input.
For sure.
Also, I was going to mention this before, Lincoln, my pup, Lincoln, and Lincoln gets his Marine Collagen Peptides I touched on a moment ago. I put a scoop or 2 in his water, and there's Lincoln Marcel, when Marcel was a little smaller. But those are I'm going to be in Colorado in about a week or so, and I'll be running Lincoln's 10 and a half years old, and he still goes up all the mountain trails with me.
Wow.
And Marcel, of course, is a year old, but I put a scoop or 2 because they share the collagen matrix is also critical in our dogs. Their aging is even more accelerated than our own.
Yeah.
So we really get some insight into the importance of certain ingredients when we look at our dogs, even more so than we look at ourselves. So Marine Collagen Peptides, in terms of the exciting science on collagen, there's no better science than marine collagen, and there's no better source of marine collagen peptides than the source we went to in Japan that has over 100 years of experience dealing with this material.
Wow, and when you think of the expense and the time of the beauty formulas that you're doing, and let's be honest, I mean, logic dictates, you can't get the beauty benefits that you can get from this because this is coming from the inside out. It's part of the very structure and function of your heart, of joints and blood vessels and skin. You want to look younger and smoother and less lined. I mean, if vanity prevails, let our pricing prevail. Andrew's last day of birthday month, this is the time I would absolutely recommend that you take advantage of it, because remember, we've sold through a good portion of the inventory. Andrew is abbreviating these airings because he's so smart. He thinks of you and he wants to try to hold, as much as he can back, just to kind of limit when that price increase does have to happen. But regardless, we have your 30, 90, 180, and 360. They're pretty much a half off sale in any respect, no matter how you look at it. Of course, most of us, and actually, Keith, if I could hold this up for a second, just to give you some perspective, this is your 360 count size, okay? You've got a year here. Now, I actually do 2 scoops a day, but this is where most of us are going, on the 360. So 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee, free shipping, and a value that is beyond compare, and something else that we will not see again. So thank you again for your orders. We've got some more goodies to get to. We made some last-minute tweaks, so I'm going to rely on my crew to help guide me to what we're doing next. Oh, is it glucosamine? Oh, is it really? Oh, here's another one I love. It's so funny because I know when you hear Colleen and Adam and myself, whenever we're on the air with Andrew, sometimes we sound like a broken record. We're like, I love this product. I love this product. This is actually the first product I started with for my joints from you. Well,
I always refer to it as the foundational joint product, because just as we talk about collagen being the extracellular matrix, the integrating protein, the integrating peptides in our joint tissue, glucosamine and chondroitin are these critical building blocks in those tissues. So the two work perfectly as structural building blocks. If you look at glucosamine and chondroitin as sort of the bricks, we would look at the collagen peptides as sort of the mortar, the integrating component in that brick wall. So glucosamine and chondroitin, the most important thing to remember about glucosamine and chondroitin is that as long as there's science on glucosamine and science on chondroitin, and we've said this before about collagen peptides, it's incumbent. It compels someone like me who manufactures a product. I have to follow the science. I shouldn't be allowed to talk about the science if my product doesn't follow the science. Unfortunately, most products in the marketplace, they're not manufactured by the person who sells it. They're made by someone else, a contract manufacturer. And I think they just arbitrarily choose whatever source they want. And when it comes to glucosamine, the hydrochloride source is the cheapest source. And that hydrochloride source, it's also acidic, HCl, hydrochloric, so like hydrochloric acid. So it's a form that is not the form that's in the science delivering the benefits. So you have to be careful. You have to read labels. So you have to make sure glucosamine alone, you'd think as a consumer, okay, if it says glucosamine on the label, I'm all good. But it's not so simple. Typical products are going to be glucosamine hydrochloride because they save money when they make that, but that's not the product, the ingredient you want. Plus, typical products are tablets. Tablets are going to be harder to swallow. They're going to resist digestion and dissolution. They're going to be difficult on your stomach. But I'll show you what ours is, and this is why you don't have any worries with our product. There's our small capsule.
Right. I
will open that capsule, and you have to look quickly. It's
beautiful,
like
fine powder. Look
ultra,
at that.
ultra fine powder, and I could just go.
Look at that.
So it's like dust.
It is.
And that's your assurance that the material you're getting is going to be delivered in a form that will dissolve and be absorbed and benefit you and not be just a source of a stomach upset. You're trying to do something that's a source of raw material, of structural material for your joints and other tissues in your body, not a source of stomach upset.
Absolutely. So all you do is you pick your size of choice, weekend special, Andrew's last day of birthday month. All these prices do expire at midnight. So your 60 count at, wow, at $19.90. That's great. 120 at $34.90. The 240 count at $59.90. You notice your savings get bigger as the sizes get larger, of course. And then the 480 count size at only $99.90. Arguably huge savings regardless. I'm especially going to advise going with the large size on this, most notably because it is something, yes, for sure, a feel the difference product, but it is something just like our marine collagen you will want to take and you need to take every day to feel and see those benefits. And Andrew, I'm not basing this on any consumer research, but I bet you've been making glucosamine longer, or certainly in this form, than anybody else in America.
Well, we originally started making, we started making our glucosamine chondroitin product, which was even before I started my company, it was back in 1978. And when I started my company, it was one of our first products in 1979, September 1979.
Wow.
So, and originally it was very difficult to find these materials. We were using green-lipped oyster and other sources. So it was very difficult product to make back in the day, and it cost more.
Expensive.
So here we are today with a product that's a fraction of the price of when I introduced it. It's hurts to even say this, 39 years ago. So, and again, I doubt if there are any other companies or many other companies, I don't even know of one, that was making a glucosamine chondroitin product back in 1979 when we made our original product. So it's something that we have an ample amount of experience, but it's not hard to do right. You just need to choose glucosamine sulfate and chondroitin sulfate. You want to not use the sodium salt of these because they all come with minerals bound to them. They all come in what's called a salt form. So we only use the calcium and potassium salts, no sodium salt. Most people are watching their sodium intake. I have healthy blood pressure. I still watch my sodium intake, so why would I want it in a joint product? You want to be able to take these products without having to worry about what they might also contain as far as additives or other ingredients. So we do everything following the science, following the research, so you could be confident in benefits and not have to worry about anything else.
Absolutely. So weekend special pricing, everything does expire. See, just like Andrew, some things get better in time. So better pricing than everything. Okay, is that
we're going to move on.
Okay.
I was just looking for another teacup over there. But they're over here, my cups of tea.
Well, which is funny.
I drink my tea all day long.
I know you do. I mean, and honestly, I actually started that because I keep green tea in my refrigerator now.
We were going to talk, I don't think we're going to have time to talk about our green tea. We were going to talk about the green tea because I'm someone that I think environmentally, personally, there are all these crazy flavored waters on the market.
Yeah.
You know, water should be almost free, and it is. And if you just invest a tiny bit, it's a fraction of what it used to be, I talked about before, to be able to drink water at home with confidence. And all you need to do, if you're going to add something to your water to flavor it, add something, add some, get some, there are all sorts of great organic juice concentrates.
Sure.
Add a teaspoon of that juice concentrate. That's all you need to do, and it costs a fraction of what these crazy bottled waters cost.
Absolutely.
$2,
Okay.
$3 a bottle.
Well, the party's over. Andrew is done at midnight, last day of the birthday. This is another product I am so in love with. A multitude of benefits with turmeric, and he does it in a way that you're going to reap those benefits, which, you know, again, if you're going to take it, you want to reap the benefits. So 30, 60, 120, 240. 240 is $89.90. I got to tell you, and I love my stuff. A lot of the girls in the makeup room are on these protein-intensive diets, and I actually take this for my liver in addition to other things, but I love it.
Most of us don't realize that our liver is the hardest working organ in our body. When we talk about turmeric, we could talk about our liver, we could talk about our joints. The reason why I'm talking about after marine collagen peptides and after glucosamine is many folks look for those are both structural and deal with how our body actually maintains the structure and builds the structure of our joint tissue, or in skin or arterial vascular tissue as well. But when we talk about turmeric, when people think of turmeric in the context of our joints, they're thinking of it in terms of its soothing role for our joints. In terms of our liver, we look at it in terms of more of a detoxifying role in terms of our liver. And many of us, in terms of our liver, we don't realize whether it's cholesterol metabolism, fat metabolism, protein metabolism, whether it's any drug or medicine we're taking, whether it's any additives in the food we're consuming, all of these things, when any alcohol we consume, it's our liver that must do the chemical work that's responsible for breaking down all of those foreign materials, whether they be foreign drugs or additives or things, or foreign materials in the form of food, molecules that we're used to dealing with. Our liver has to do that chemical work to break it down to eventually get rid of it. It does the detoxifying work in our body. So turmeric, for those of us who, many of us are eating sort of a more paleo type diet or a more high protein diet. I'm someone who, it's not that I eat a lot of protein, but I tend to avoid the kind of the low-hanging carbohydrates. I tend to avoid added sugar in all foods. I'm someone who, I'm avoiding those simple carbs, or even things like white potatoes and things like that. I'll eat legumes. I love nuts and seeds. I like healthy fats. I love healthy fats. But turmeric, to the extent we look at a botanical that can have really a palliative role, a beneficial role on so many systems in our body, it's turmeric. But the problem with turmeric, there's always a problem with something. The problem with turmeric is you could get the best standardized extract of turmeric, and I touched on this last night. You can get the best standardized extract of turmeric. It's not going to be well absorbed. It could be 95% curcuminoids, which curcumin spice is 1 to 3%. A great standardized extract is 95%. You could deliver 95% curcuminoids, it's not going to be well absorbed because those curcuminoids require help. The way they have always been enhanced in absorption naturally as part of the Indian diet is when you cook them into food. They complex with the fat that's contained in that food. And mostly in India, it's cooked into stews and things like that. So even though it's only 1 to 3% in curcumin spice, that 1 to 3% becomes dramatically more absorbable. In fact, proportionately, it might be more absorbable than 95% that hasn't been enhanced. The way we enhance our turmeric is the same way they do it in the Asian diet, in the Indian diet. We basically complex our turmeric with fat. But we select a fat that also plays a role in the brain and the liver, because that's one of the those are two of the target organs for turmeric, for curcumin. We use phosphatidylcholine. That's the most predominant phospholipid in the brain and in the liver. There's another way companies are enhancing the absorption of turmeric, of the curcuminoids in turmeric, and I view it as sort of a quasi-natural way. They use black pepper spice, and I'm not sure if the black pepper spice plays sort of an irritating role and thus enhances the absorption, but it also enhances and potentially enhances the absorption of, drugs or medicines, which could disrupt the way we dose medicines and things like that. So I don't view that as a real natural mechanism for enhancing curcumin absorption, curcuminoid absorption, and we go about doing it the most natural way possible, and it's, in my mind, the most effective way possible.
Absolutely, and I think that's the key, because, I mean, what's the point to taking or doing anything if you aren't going to reap that multitude of health benefits? So whether it is for your liver, whether it is for your joints, your mobility, I love that we're talking a lot about mobility today.
And the reviews on this product are impressive.
Stellar.
You could go to hsn.com.
Yeah.
It's very easy to read them on your mobile device, on your phone. As you can see here, 400.
Yeah.
Well, that's how of that is. If you look at those two reviews, it's hard to read on that monitor there.
Yeah.
It's a little over, a bit over 400 reviews are 4- and 5-star reviews, and there's only a bit over 400 total reviews.
Exactly.
So it's a well-reviewed product.
It is indeed. Okay, so we're going to try to get through a bunch of things before we do an abbreviated look, a much abbreviated look of our today's special, which will actually be one of your final presentations, since Andrew is done tonight at 9 o'clock. So.
And this is a product that I'd love to be able to spend an hour on.
I know.
And I won't even get to spend an hour when it's a Today Special, which will be probably in January. We're in Florida here, and we hear thunder overhead, so it's that time of year here. When I was driving here yesterday, the entire last hour of the drive, it was just deluge.
Torrential,
it was torrential rains.
I know.
But it's good. We need the water here. Is always a good thing.
We do indeed.
Yes.
So again, these are all just abbreviated looks. So just real quickly, remember birthday pricing. This is Andrew's last day of birthday. You choose the 30, the 60, the 180, and the 360. It's interesting to note, first of all, Andrew's products, they're the #1 product sold here at HSN. They're our #1 reorder products of all the products that we sell here at HSN. They are our lowest return rate products out of all the products that we sell at HSN. On supplements, now, if that doesn't tell you that people are seeing and feeling and reaping a benefit, even all the science and all the compelling information that Andrew's going to give you, that alone should convince you. But I mention that because this is actually one of Andrew's top reorder products. And boy, if there's one product, I know we could pick any of them to read the reviews. It reads like a love letter. I mean, people get so emotional about this product. They really do. When Andrew first introduced this, we used to call this the nurse's product. I will say, whether you stand a lot or sit a lot, and sadly in this country, it's funny, we're starting to sell some of those standing desks, but as a general rule, I think people are a little more sedentary than we maybe have been in the past. So whether you stand a lot for retail or whether you sit a lot.
What is it I've been hearing said for the last several years, that sitting is the new smoking. That in terms of, we all understand the tremendous risks to health that smoking present. I always say to someone who smokes, it's just an unbelievable. Smoking is an incredible opportunity. There's nothing I can do to enhance the quality of my life and the length of my life as much as someone who smokes, who chooses to stop.
Yes.
So there's always a good way to look at something in a positive way. And certainly sitting has been shown through studies that unfortunately sitting too much is not a great thing. If we're limited, physically or mechanically limited, and we must sit a lot, maybe perhaps a recumbent bike or certain forms of exercise can be done. There are even I had a friend who was a sort of a Paralympian who was paralyzed in an accident, and he was unbelievable. There's a device called like an ergosizer, where you just use your arms, and he could produce twice as much as I could on that device. But so there's all sorts of things we can do to make sure that we're moving. As human beings, we were designed to move to survive. The society we've created, as long as we have a mobile device, we can have everything delivered to us, so we don't have to move anymore. So, and funnily for me, the thing that gives me, probably other than my work, the things that gives me the greatest pleasure, I think, are being able to move around. And I love to go exercise. I love to go exercise with my friends. It's just a fun thing to do, to be able to move around, to be able to be outdoors. But again, circulation and vein support, it's something that the human condition, no matter how much we move, no matter how healthy we are, the blood vessels in our feet, ankles, and calves, they change. Their appearance changes. Their physical structure changes. The way they feel change. So it changes. So this is something that I think most of us don't believe that a simple natural supplement can make a profound difference.
I think
if you read the reviews on this product, and Shannon was just saying that, they're probably my Ultimate Eye, my Omega-3s, my Essential One. I have so many products that are very loyally reordered because they're unique products in the world and they deliver so dramatically. But this is a product that I think above all of them delivers in a fashion that's surprising. And I would even say that there's, of the thousands and thousands of reviews, there's probably 100 or so negative reviews that I would venture to say, even the negative reviews, if you read some of them, you find out the negative reviews, the product was delivered late or it was delivered damaged, so it has nothing to do with the product. But even if you're in the negative reviews, I would venture to say that the ingredients like this, I have so much confidence in them that even those 1 or 2 or 3% reviews that are negative, I would think that if they gave it a longer chance, if they had more than, say, 30 days, or they took it properly, you really have to take it every day. And with this product, more than any other, 30 days should be an abundant amount of time that you'll see a difference.
You absolutely will. To that point, 4.6 star customer average. And by the way, that's on almost 3,000 reviews. And no kidding, I reference those reviews again because they read like love letters, where people who are in retail are able to get through their whole shift or stand on their feet without being uncomfortable. And it's funny, when Andrew first started offering this product, we used to, not even really jokingly, but say he should have sold it with a tape measure. Because if you see at the end of the day, your feet, your hands, your legs looking and feeling different, people feel a difference with this. They do.
You have to take 2 capsules a day. That's the, you know, there are a lot of reviews saying taking 1 capsule a day or 1 every other day. That's not the way the science has reviewed the ingredients in this product. But at 2 capsules a day, and it's better than ever. This is a product that can make just a remarkable difference. I have healthy circulation in my feet, ankles, and calves, but I exercise every day. And this makes a dramatic difference for me. Really, you're taking pictures. Muriel's on the other side. She's taking pictures. Muriel is just excited because La France a gagné. The France won.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they won 4-1. So what do we say? Félicitations aux Bleus.
Allez les Bleus.
Ouais, les Bleus. In France, the soccer team is called les Bleus, the Blues, les Bleus. So les Bleus ont gagné. They won. Yeah.
We did really well today, and I'm very proud. Definitely, this was amazing.
Yes. Very exciting.
Very exciting. Soccer's, I mean, the world's most popular sport.
Oh, yeah. It's the world's most popular sport. And even in America, I think youth soccer has now, that's why it's incredible that we didn't have a team this year in the World Cup. Because youth soccer has become an enormous sport.